Welcome to the building dock, where years of industrial labor are about to be resolved in a few centimeters of vertical clearance. Right now, this massive steel envelope is entirely static, resting its full weight on a single line of hardwood timber blocks. This structural cross-section shows the mechanical risk of the launch. Flooding the dock forces the steel to handle the massive, redistributed stresses of buoyancy for the very first time. On the blocks, the weight is concentrated. In the water, it spreads across the entire immersed surface, loading the hull girder in a way it has never experienced before. The inlet valves are cranked open. Cold seawater rushes across the concrete floor, rising inch by inch until it is embracing the hull. With a deep, echoing groan of steel, a thin sliver of daylight appears between the keel and the timber caps. The vessel is finally afloat, but while the hull has achieved buoyancy, its internal systems remain unproven. As a dynamic machine, she is still entirely unverified, and her true capabilities must now be ruthlessly interrogated. Before she is permitted to head for the open ocean, the vessel undergoes Harbor Acceptance Trials, or HAT. The logic is strictly economical. It is safer and cheaper to identify a system failure while moored alongside the quay than it is 100 nautical miles from shore. During this phase, engineers intentionally kill the ship's main power. This plunges the vessel into darkness to test the emergency response. Within exactly 45 seconds, the emergency generator must start automatically, assume essential load, and restore power to navigation, communication, and steering. For complex vessels like modern cruise ships, the technical scrutiny is staggering. A single dockside testing program routinely encompasses upwards of 3,000 individually witnessed line items, ranging from generator load tests to the complete launching sequence of the lifeboats. Every system is physically demonstrated, recorded, and signed by shipyard and owner representatives. Nothing passes on trust. Everything passes on evidence. Every internal organ must yield hard data of functionality before the interrogation moves to the sea. With her dockside systems confirmed, the ship heads into deep water for the Sea Acceptance Trial, or SAT. She sails in ballast condition, carrying seawater in her lower tanks to achieve the correct draft and propeller immersion required to test her dynamic limits. This graph maps the speed-power curve. Opposing runs average out wind and current to confirm guaranteed service speed. Next, the crash stop. Halting a fully laden tanker requires 3 nautical miles, like stopping the Eiffel Tower from highway speed without brakes. The trials culminate in a 12-hour endurance run at maximum continuous rating. Engineers continuously monitor every temperature, pressure, and vibration signature under prolonged heavy load to confirm that the ship remains stable and the crew accommodation remains habitable. Surviving SAT is the single definitive proof of operational readiness. It is the evidence that this massive machine can withstand the dynamic forces of the open ocean without tearing itself apart. When the vessel returns to the quay, the shipyard and owner review the punch list. Even on a multi-$100 million project, a ship is almost never technically flawless on the day sea trials end. The list typically contains hundreds of individual flaws identified during testing. Defects are categorized by severity. Category A items, like a failed fire damper or misaligned shaft bearing, are safety failures that block delivery. Category B items are minor or cosmetic issues that parties agree can be resolved during the vessel's first months of commercial service. Correcting these items becomes a focal point of commercial negotiation. Owners often insist on a financial holdback, withholding a significant percentage of the final payment in escrow until the shipyard rectifies every outstanding warranty item. Beyond mechanical fixes, the ship navigates a labyrinth of international maritime law. To join the global fleet, she requires a specific portfolio of statutory paperwork, from safety construction and radio certificates to the International Load Line Certificate that defines her reserve buoyancy. On the day trials end, a vessel may be physically complete, mechanically proven, and fully crewed. Yet without these signed and stamped certificates, she does not legally exist as a merchant vessel. She cannot cross an international border, or enter a foreign port, or carry a single ton of commercial cargo. The naming and delivery ceremony is the moment a shipyard hull number is officially replaced by a name. An honored lady sponsor shatters a champagne bottle against the bow, a tradition involving pre-scored glass to ensure a clean break and good fortune. While the crowd celebrates, the legal transfer of the asset is executed in a quiet boardroom. Representatives sign the Protocol of Delivery and Acceptance, confirming the ship has been inspected and accepted. This signature triggers the release of the largest single payment to the shipyard. At the stern, the legal weight of the flag handover is instantaneous. The shipyard's house flag is lowered, and the owner's national ensign is hoisted. In that second, the vessel passes under the flag state's jurisdiction, becoming a piece of that nation's sovereign territory. The tugs let go, and the air horn sounds. After years of construction and weeks of intense interrogation, the vessel has transitioned from an industrial project into a recognized sovereign entity of the world fleet. 1 year later, the pristine hull is now streaked with rust weeping from the scuppers, and marine life has begun to colonize the steel. Barnacles and algae are visible as dark patches creeping along the waterline. This degradation has measurable consequences. The hull's hydrodynamic efficiency is down, and fuel consumption is up. To fight this slow war of attrition, the owners have booked a dry docking for a mechanical overhaul. In our next season, we explore the time-critical world of maritime maintenance. We will see how these massive vessels are stripped down and abrasive blasted to survive another decade at sea. The ship successfully proved its right to exist, but the ocean never stops trying to reclaim the steel. Join us for Series 3, How Ships Are Repaired.